In this video, we're talking about basic navigation and record functions in Studio Suite 12. Here we are at the home screen of Studio Suite Direct running in my browser, Chrome. On the left are buttons for modules that you have access to based on your user account's security permissions and your user preferences. Clicking on a module will take you there, for example, Contacts. When we navigate to a module, we always land on the List tab. The headers in the List tab allow you to sort by each column. We can also search for any record in the search field at the top and/or click on any row to go to the detail view. To navigate, we have some options. We can always click on the back button in the upper left of each screen, and for our longtime Studio Suite users, we've placed a Home button in the upper right where the old Main Menu tab used to be. You can also click on the name of the module, in this case Contacts, to see the list of modules you have access to, and clicking one will take you directly there. Here we are in Equipment, for example. Looking again, there's also a back button here, as well as a Home button. I'll click on the Home button. Now that we're back at the home screen, we can see a list of projects that are going on today, and clicking on one of them takes us directly to that project. I'll use the back button to get back. Each project would typically have a bunch of line items, which we call events, and we can see all of today's events, potentially from several different projects, here in the upper right quadrant. I can also add myself as a new event to a project by clicking on the Plus Me button in the project. Here I can adjust the details of my event, and it now appears on the right, and I can further edit any event from here as needed. The bottom left quadrant lets me view my tasks, and I can create a new task by clicking on the plus button. Bottom right are follow-up calls I need to make. Now let's briefly discuss the setup area. In either the bottom left or in the gear tool in the upper right, you can access the setup area. This is where you define your company and your user accounts. To create a new company, click on the New Company Division button and fill out the details. Other settings and preferences are available on other tabs across the top. To create a new user, click on the User Accounts tab and click the plus button. Specify a user account name, the password twice, and the privilege set, which determines their security profile based on their role, similar to groups in Active Directory. Each user account needs to be tied to a contact record. You can either choose from an existing contact or create a new contact here. I'm also going to flag this new contact as an employee. Here in User Accounts, we can manage each user's preferences and get very granular with the roughly 300 individual user permissions we can grant or deny each user. With that done, let's head back to the home screen. Now, let's talk about record functions. For that, we'll return to the Contacts module. Across the top of most screens is what we call the function bar. Click the plus button to create a new record, the double plus button to duplicate the current record, the trash can to delete it. The Find button will put you in Find mode and allow you to do a more detailed search than you can do in the search field. When you have a found set of records, you can show all records again by clicking the Find All button. The Omit button omits the current record from your found set. And finally, the Sort button lets you build custom sorts. And that's about all you need to know about creating and deleting records. And now, a quick word about resources. A resource is a person, room, piece of equipment, expendable, or any other kind of service that you would need to either book on a project or view in the calendar. To make something a resource, you simply click the Make Resource button, and that item will be available to use in those areas. If you have a resource that is not a person, room, piece of equipment, expendable, such as deliveries, meals, or other services you provide, you would create it in the Resources and Services module. Resources can also have rates to determine the cost and charge and profit for each item, but that's another topic for another video. Now let's take a look at the Calendar module. The Studio Suite Calendar shows many things: daily notes, resources, projects, tasks, employee schedules, and callbacks. You can turn these on or off depending on your preference. There are a number of calendar views available here. You may want to explore them to find the one you like, but personally, I like the Timeline Week view. To book something, we simply click and drag on the item we want to book. then select Book Project. There are a number of options here, but I'm just going to click Proceed. We are now in our new project with the items we selected in Calendar appearing along with their default rates and prices. Because events and projects have many different facets, you can view those different facets by clicking on the View selector to view charges, taxes, discounts, expenses, profit loss, barcodes, and more for both budget, actual, and difference. We can also create a new project in Projects by clicking on the plus button. Let's give it the name of Demo, and we can choose a client here. Typing a couple letters reduces the list, and we can select the one that we want. To add items to our blank project, we click on the plus button here, and then select one or more items, and then click Add to Project. And here they are. Of course, we can edit details about each item, and overridden times and prices can show up in blue so that you'll see what items have been edited. We can add notes to each line item here, and the pencil is now blue to indicate there are notes. Finally, let's make an invoice. I click in the Invoice Status area, then click Select All for Invoice, which then selects all the events, and then I click Invoice Selected Items. This copies the events to a new invoice in the Invoice module, and as you'll see in the top right of many screens, we can either print or email the invoice from here. Alright, well that's about it for navigation and record functions with a little extra tossed in. More videos will be available soon, but this should be enough to get you started. Please let us know if you have any questions, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks for watching.